Today on Forbes, meet the billionaire financial advisor who embraced psychedelics and found bliss. An afternoon birthday party for Omani Carson's 3-year-old granddaughter is raging in his house, nestled along a golf course on a dead-end street in Omaha, Nebraska. Toys and party decorations litter the living room, where kids are bouncing among games, television, and cake. Carson steps away into his quiet downstairs office, walls lined with signed guitars and hunting rifles. Sitting at a polished wooden table, he says, quote, "We're never moving from here. My CEO and best friend lives one house over. My kids are moving across the street. They renamed it the Cul-de-sac." A few miles down the road, some of his 672 staffers at the headquarters of his $55 billion in assets under management Carson Group are advising clients which stocks to buy and which to avoid, and dispensing wisdom about setting up a durable power of attorney or writing a living will. Others are helping other financial advisors around the country do the same. Carson says, quote, "They're part of our extended family, and we treat them that way." For 4 decades, while his first name was still Ron, Carson, who is 61 years old, built one of the largest registered financial advisor firms in the nation by leaning into personal relationships with his clients. He embraced scores of independent advisors looking for guidance, developing a coaching business to teach them his ways, and a support operation to help with things like marketing, tech, and infrastructure. Today, his business has 150 partner offices serving 54,000 affluent families across the nation, up from 33,000 in 2020. Assets have surged more than threefold since 2021, when Carson sold a minority stake to Bain Capital at a $1 billion valuation. Now, thanks to a roughly 51% share of the company and some 16,000 acres of Nebraska farmland, Carson, a former Forbes contributor, is only the second billionaire financial advisor, after Texas-based Ken Fisher. Raphael Mason, a partner at Bain Capital, says, quote, "Carson struck us as one of the very best players in this space. It had and continues to have a maniacal focus on the customer, and a genuine desire and ability to make customers' lives better." But amid this huge success, with his business at an all-time high, Carson took an unexpected turn. In 2022, after he hosted indigenous leaders from around the world at his remote hunting lodge turned healing ranch, a Lakota chief bestowed on him the name Tate Omani, meaning walking into a stiff wind. He legally changed his name. Ron would now go by Omani. He gave away all his neckties. He started taking psychedelics and fasting as part of what he describes as a broader effort to heal himself. He says, quote, "The first chapter of my life was just craving financial stability. Once I had it, and it didn't give me the feeling I wanted, I searched for emotional stability." Now he says he's happier than ever, living a life of, quote, "love and abundance," and has a plan, and a new business, to help other lost executives, quote, "switch their operating systems." It's been a long journey from the cold fields of Nebraska, where Carson helped his alcoholic, sometimes abusive father run the family farm. At 17 years old, he watched his over-leveraged parents go bankrupt. Carson says, quote, "It was the one and only time I saw my dad cry. I had this relentless desire to not be poor because my parents went broke and it severed my soul." In 1983, he launched what would become the Carson Group out of his dorm. He spent the next 6 years without an office, barely breaking even. Then, on a particularly rough day, he began phoning clients simply to check in, without an agenda. At a time when most wealth managers were extremely transactional, focused solely on selling investment products to clients, Carson made it personal. He says, quote, "I learned people's kids' names, their pets' names, everything." Good strategy and good timing, as everyday investors began moving money away from traditional brokers into the hands of registered investment advisors, which are legally required to act in clients' best interests rather than juice their commissions pumping affiliated products. Carson's annual revenue jumped from less than $30,000 to $1 million within 2 years. Despite operating far from Wall Street or Silicon Valley, he was soon the highest-earning advisor in his broker-dealer network. For full coverage, check out Sergei Klebnikov's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.